Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm Emerald the Quilter. I know it's been a little while since I've been on, but I'm so happy to be back. I have been spending time with my family for Thanksgiving and working on Christmas gifts that needed to be done by hand, of course, because I'm a quilter. And who doesn't like making gifts for those that they love by hand, right? So today I'm going to show you how to lay out your Pinwheel Cookie Quilt Blocks. All of mine are done. If you haven't joined me, I'm making all of the Perfect 5 quilts from the Perfect 5 Quilts book by It's So Emma of Fat Quarter Shop. And this is what the Pinwheel Cookie Quilt looks like right here. It's absolutely beautiful. It's easy to make and it only requires 2 charm packs. So we're going to start by laying out all the blocks on the table before I decide where they go up on the wall. Here's my lovely stack of blocks. We're just going to take a look at these one at a time. See how pretty that they turned out. And I think I'm going to zoom you in just a little bit more. Perfect. The plaid, of course, is my favorite, and I think I mentioned before that there were only enough charms to make that one block, which was a shame, but it's okay. It's going to go somewhere in the middle of my quilt. The lighter fabrics ended up being some of my favorites, so I love that one. This one is kind of similar to this, and I'm not so sure what the term would be. I think it's like tone. You know, some people, they'll take a black and white picture of their quilt and stand back to see what it looks like to make sure that it's of the same strength in the grayscale image, and that's what I'm referring to. It'd be too much of the same. Now this has a nice contrast, so I really do like that. So does this. This is pretty decent. And some of these had just one of the same block with the same fabric, and then most of them did have 2. Like this one here with the white and drawn flowers. I think there's like 3 versions of that. Here's another one. That one only had like 1 of each as well, just like the plaid. Love this one here. That stack is getting quite tall. So I actually took my Pinwheel Cookie Quilt pre-cut pieces that I had prepared for myself to visit my parents in Kansas. So my parents live in Wichita, and I set up my sewing machine in the living room, and while we were watching TV or while we were just hanging out and talking, I was sewing and my mom was helping me with ironing, and we just had a lot of fun. I also put my dad to work. I had some paper that needed to be pulled from another project, so you know, just getting the family involved in quilting, and we had a lot of fun. I'll tell you more about that later because I got some video footage of some quilt shops and went on a very special trip. Got one thing off of my bucket list done, so I'm very excited to share that with you in a video soon. I have actually been very busy, even though I have not published any videos on YouTube. Been very busy. So this is also a beautiful fabric print. I'm happy that there are 2 of those. I just love the flowers with the brown on it. This is that same one, but just lighter. So those are all of my blocks. I cannot wait to get these on the wall, and I wanted to show you an accident that I made and explain to you why it is so important for you to buy everything you need all at once. So this is my background fabric, right? Of course it's the same. Well, there was a day where I needed just a little bit more, and I went to the quilt shop having forgotten my blocks, and this is what I bought. It is nothing alike. I had a picture of one of my blocks and I was like, that looks close enough. It is not close enough at all. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you ever forget or you don't buy enough, do not make your purchase, because at the quilt shop you cannot return your fabric. But the good thing is that this is still a beautiful fabric. I did not buy too much and I know I can reuse it somewhere else. So lesson learned, right? Now this is just going to be for my border, so I have enough there. And something else I wanted to show you was my backing. So I found this at a quilt shop in Kansas when I was shop hopping with my mom. And I just thought it was beautiful, and it really does a great job matching the purples in these fabrics. These fabrics are not from the same designer at all or the same brand. These charms were called Sweet Splendor. It was an older design by Connecting Threads. This is, I think, a Michael Miller background fabric. And then this is called, let's see, is the name on here? It's Sagaru by Christina Camelli from Maywood Studios. So I have used Maywood Studios fabric before and I absolutely love it. So here is a close-up of that. Beautiful. So I'm excited to actually have everything that I need to finish this quilt. Make sure that you watch to the end to see my Gingersnap quilt, because that one is actually all done, binding included. To stay organized, I like to lay out all of my blocks on the table by color or motif, or in a way that just makes sense as I'm going along. And I do this for all of the quilts when I have blocks like this. The quilt behind me that I'm gonna have to take down is actually a quilt for my brother. So I don't think he watches my YouTube videos, so it's okay that I say that. But this quilt is a family project that myself, my mom, my sister-in-law, and my sister-in-law's, my brothers, 3 daughters, worked on the last time that they were visiting me. And my brother is overseas right now, and hopefully we can have this done the next time that they visit, and they're visiting next week. So today is December 20th, or yes, I think it's December 20th, and so they should be here within the next few days or so. So now I just kind of have them all sort of laid out. My browns are kind of together, and I'm gonna bring you back down here so that you can see what I'm doing. And then I'll have to take all of those blocks off of the wall. And if you're wondering what that one is, that is a pattern by Lori Holt in her Scrappiness is Happiness book. I love that book. I got it almost as soon as it came out, and I bought the shirt. That's gonna be my, I think, my second quilt that I've made from that book, so I really do love it. And I'm so excited to present it to my brother. So I'm about halfway done. Let me bring you down here. I've got my little piles going, and I'm trying to just, lay them out in a way that makes sense to me. I have, these are gonna be like my super dark prints, so dark brown, dark purple, this dark cherry red, and my florals right here. My mediums, light mediums, I suppose, will be here. And then I have this stack of lights. There are a lot of shades of brown in this quilt, which makes it excellent for the fall. Too bad I didn't finish it on time, but it happens. It will be ready for next fall. And This one I'm just going to set it to the side because, like I said, it's my favorite. Big floral print, medium. I don't know, something about this is sort of reading in between. Just right there. Okay. So I have super darks, some dark florals, lights, light florals, and I guess these can just kind of go together. So I've got, you know, 6 categories here. Now I'm ready to remove my flag quilt off the wall and start laying these out. We're going to lay out 6 blocks across and 6 going down. Now it's 6 blocks by 6 blocks, but you can see that it's rectangular. That is because the block has this sashing built into it, this long piece right here, and the columns alternate. So some are going to be facing this way, and then some are going to be facing this way. I'm just going to play some music while I decide where they go, and when I'm done, we'll zoom in on where they went. laid out, and when I took a step back, there were just two blocks that really popped out at me, and they are these two. They are too similar when I stand back and look at them. So I need to find where I can switch one of these around with something else, preferably like somewhere in this area here, maybe somewhere over here. Let's see what I can do. I think I found something that I'm happy with. I moved several blocks around. It's kind of hard to keep track, but they're certainly more distributed by the strength in their color, and I really like the layout. So we're gonna start by sewing this top row and then this row. So we'll do 2 rows together so that you can see how it turns out. But I really love it. I got my machine all set up and took a picture of the layout of the blocks on my phone so that I can always go back to it. I have my stitch length set to 1 3/4, and I have my blocks pinned in 3 places. So one at the end, and then these two here are at intersections. Now my seams are not nesting, so I felt it was important to go ahead and pin those. And I have my 1/4 inch foot on my Bernina already set up. I know with the bobbin that I have in right now that it's going to run out soon, so I went ahead and wound another bobbin. I may have to stop and take care of that, so if you see me stopping, that's why. And I always do my best to take these pins out right before I run over them. I'm just going to check the back. Looks really good. Just checking that I'm not running out of thread. Watch, I'm going to run out of bobbin thread when I'm not paying attention anymore. And I'm always just checking that my edges line up too. I'm just keeping everything together. Now, this quilt is not going to be like super duper perfect because I worked on this quilt on 3 different machines, I think. So the sewing machine in Kansas, that was one that I had my parents take up there for me from the previous time that they visited instead of dragging it through the airport. My Bernina, and then I think I actually started possibly on my Jazz 2 when I had it. But that machine, or was it? No, it was not the Jazz 2, it was the Allegro. So, you know, every machine, the 1/4 inch foot is always just a tad bit different, but I did my best to try and keep it consistent. So here it is opened up, and you can see that my seam there looks really good. And then let's check out the one down here. Also looks great. I did not chop off my points. So now I'm going to lay them out where they go here on my table and pin them and bring you back. I pinned the entire row together. So there's like 3 large units connected with pins. So there's the other side. I'm just going to see how that works because I didn't want to like stop and go with the camera if I didn't necessarily have to. Let's see how this works out. And I pinned on this side twice, so there was less, there were still 2 intersections for me to pin, but less space in between. And of course, I'm not really too worried about making it all the way to the bottom, so that is just going to be unpinned. But I am holding it, so it's fine. Now I'm going to bring this side over. And here we go. So while I was in Kansas, my mom took me for a shop hop We went to 2 different quilt shops in Wichita. One of them was fairly new, and I forget the names of them off the top of my head, but I did film them. So I'm going to be sharing videos of those 2 lovely shops. And my bucket list item that we did was we took a trip to Quilt Town, USA in Hamilton, Missouri, and we got to go to all the stores and see, there we go. Right when I was not paying attention, I ran out of bobbin thread, but it's a good thing I already have my other bobbin ready to go. I'm just gonna take this one out. So we went on Black Friday. We got there the night before, and we had such a fun time. We were there longer than what we had planned to be there for. All the quilt shops were beautiful, and I did get permission to film, and I cannot wait to put that together for you as well. So I just had a lot of fun spending time with both of my parents and, of course, my mom. We got to spend a little bit more time together, and I did, just out of tradition, go to work with my dad one day. So as a kid over the summer, we would have a take your kid to work. I'm pretty sure he made that up, or maybe he didn't. I don't know. But I used to love going to work with him as a kid because they had hot cocoa in the break room, and so I used to make myself my hot cocoa there. And now I have to repin this. And so I went and I brought some cross stitch, and whenever he was too busy, I was just chit-chatting with his other coworker and keeping myself busy. So I had a fun time hanging out with my dad too. And my dog Bella got to see the snow for the first time. On the day I was supposed to come back, or I should say like the night before my flight, it started snowing, and it just picked up and picked up and picked up. And I think I remember the news saying something how it was like a record amount of snow for that time of the year, because it just kept snowing and it wouldn't stop. But it was so beautiful. I was stuck in the airport for like maybe 3 hours before they canceled my flight. And I got to stay a whole nother day, which was great because to be honest, I was not ready to go. And I remember telling my parents, I'm glad they canceled my flight because I didn't want to go home. I was having such a fun time. And in the morning, we took the dogs out for a walk. So my dog, Bella, and then my parents' dog, Lola. And Bella has never seen the snow before. So she was the cutest, hopping around like a rabbit and following along in Lola's path. So Lola, I guess she's pretty used to the snow. She's seen it, I think, a couple years now. And normally Lola is following Bella, but in this case, Bella was the one looking to see what Lola was doing so that she could stay in like a path that she wouldn't sink through the snow. So that was hilarious. And I'll make sure to find a clip of that and share that here at the end. But I had such a wonderful time traveling and seeing new places. Wichita is beautiful. Beautiful. It's so calm. It's not like the Houston area here where I live in. There's so much traffic all the time. Oh, and something really funny is on our way to Missouri, there was a sign, and it was a very serious sign. It said high traffic ahead. And when we got to the high traffic area, it was all of like 1 or 2 cars on the road in front of us. And so that was hilarious that people think that a couple cars is high traffic. I guess when you're used to not having any cars around, then, but there's always cars out here near where I live, and always. We're a heavily populated area. Almost done. So what I'm going to do now is press all of these seams open because I don't want to have to keep track of what's going where. And then I'm going to pin both of these rows together because this should be completely done. Completely. And then I will sew it together for you, press it flat again, that way you can see what it looks like. So let me see if I can just zoom you out real quick. So see, here's the row. Don't mind my mess in the background. Okay, and here is another row. It's coming together beautifully. I am officially on my last seam for today. I'm lining up my 2 corners. Gonna add a leader and move these threads out of the way. I cannot wait to show this to you. So there aren't too many seams. There are actually none that are intersecting along this seam of the blocks. So I just pinned in between each one, and I'm just going along the middle like, you know, with no problem. So that's very good. This pin here just popped out, so I'm gonna place it back in right there. Okay. Very good. Very good. Let's make sure it's actually sewing. Of course it should be, but it is. Gotta check every once in a while. And then I'm just gonna line up these 2 last corners here, hold them into place, and sew, sew, sew. Awesome. Let's get this pressed open. And here are my top 2 rows. It came out really great. I did not lose any points that I could tell right off the bat, and it sits pretty flat. Not as wonky as I thought it might have been since I used more than one machine to piece this together, and it traveled out of state, so I am very happy with it. And let's just get it up on the wall to see what it looks like. There we go. Yay, gotta take a step back. Ooh, very nice to admire it. I cannot wait to finish the rest of these, and I will probably have that done in a couple more nights. So yes, so excited. Now, before you tune out, don't forget about these. So I sewed all of my cutaways. Ooh, and they're kind of dusty. Can you see all that dust? They're kind of dusty. I have a lot. I don't know how many are in here, but I sewed all of them together. And I'm going to make a bonus project out of these. So in my next video, you will see what I decide to do. So if you haven't sewn yours together, make sure that you do that, and we'll design something beautiful together. So now I'm going to show you my Gingersnap quilt, and I'll be right over there. Are you ready? Here is my Gingersnap quilt. Yay! Look at these bubbles. I love this quilting. So my friend Lois asked me, what do you want on it? Do you want something more modern or something traditional? And I just said bubbles. I just want bubbles. So it kind of goes with like this ocean themed. I mean, the fabric collection is called Florida. I really love how it came out. And this gold thread is so nice, so pretty. It goes with this gold here. It matches really nicely. And there's the binding. Love the binding. And then the back. There's the back. So I am very happy of all my Perfect 5 quilts. This is my favorite one that I've made, and I'm currently using it as a quilt to cover my office chair with. So I love it. I hope you are enjoying quilting with me just as much as I am enjoying quilting with you, and I'm loving how this is turning out. I'm gonna have a beautiful stack of quilts once I'm all done, and I'm so excited about it. I did want to let you know before you leave that for the following Perfect 5 Quilts video, so not this bonus project video that I'm gonna do next, but for the Pizzelle quilt, which I have shared with you already that we are going to use some scraps or leftover charms from the previous projects to make this quilt. And if you don't have any triangle paper, I'm gonna use some to make my half square triangles. The size that I ordered on Amazon was 4.5 inches unfinished, so I will put that link in the description box below. Otherwise, you could make your half square triangles the original way, which is, you know, drawing the line from corner to corner and then cutting and sewing and all that. But I'm gonna use triangle paper. So get your charms ready. Stay tuned for the bonus project, and thanks again for sewing with me. I can't wait to see you next time. Bye.